A very good morning to you all. Welcome to Sunrise Daily. Today, beautiful Friday morning. I am Train Belinoso reporting live from Abuja.
Well, rise and shine. You are rocking with the very best breakfast crew in town. Welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Kayode Okikili from here in Lagos.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. It's the 25th day in the month of November 2022, and we're drawing closer to the elections, drawing even closer to the Yuletide season. And we are already in the middle of a fuel scarcity in Lagos.
Cool.
So
25. I love that number.
Oh, really? Is it with a dollar or the, anyway? Don't even let's go about. So you know this fuel situation in Lagos. Well, I know that you've had your fair share in Abuja, Chamberlain, and I don't know how serious it is at the moment. But in Lagos, it's biting even harder, and it's really a little troubling, given the conversation that we had with the gentleman from Ipman, I think 2 days ago. And
it was yesterday, actually.
Okay, it was yesterday, good.
Yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday. And, you know, a lot of one expected that will raise a number of questions. So far, I don't know if I missed the news, but so far I don't think anyone has heard anything. However, it doesn't make the fuel situation in Lagos any better. Doesn't give any hope. We're trying to get him to give us, I mean, based on things he knows and as a practitioner, as an active person, an active player in the sector, try to give us some inkling, okay, since you believe that, you know, the federal government is going to wade in and the NNPCL is going to do whatever they need to do and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources will venture into the issue, how far so far? The issues are still there, the queues are still long, some fuel stations are still shut here in Lagos, and hopes, I don't know how much of that people can take. It's the 25th day in the month of November 2022, 6 days or so away from December 1, and the Yuletide is just 25 days from December 1. So one is wondering exactly how this is going to play out for many Nigerians, some of who are likely to travel before the season, and no less also taking away the pleasure, the comfort, the convenience of many people.
By the way, I think it makes sense now why Chamberlain likes 25th. I mean, there's December 25th. It's Christmas, so every 25th. It's a good one. But, you know, regarding the fuel scarcity, what is still a bit tricky for me is understanding how from 148 naira, I mean, it gets to from NNPC to the depots and eventually to the marketers, it becomes 198 to what? 195 to 210 naira. So I still don't get why there's that disparity. How did he get there? I remember trying to get that from the Ipman representative yesterday, just so we know where the challenge is, because if the marketers or at least the retailers are taking the product for what, between 195 to 210, clearly they can't sell for 165 naira. So that is where the challenge is. How did 148 naira become 195 to 210? And I think if we've not been able to resolve that, I understand why. Well, he said we should ask the depot owners why that is the case. And this is a challenge out to them. What exactly is the issue? Well, for me, it's not really affecting me as much. You know, it's for people maybe that drive cars, people that, I've asked people, get a bicycle or get a scooter. I'm
not even going to venture into that conversation.
Just walk to work, you know, maybe move closer to your work. I'm just joking. I know it might not be as easy as that, but I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive. I know that a lot of people have to rely on petrol, I mean, for their generating sets, for their vehicles, to power their small equipment for business, a vulcanizer, and all of that. And the list goes on and on. Yeah. So if we're not able to understand what exactly the issue is, then I wonder what solution we're proffering. We don't want to hear the usual, we have enough stock for the Yuletide. It's the usual thing, but people go to filling stations and they can't buy fuel. The ones that buy it for 180, 190. I mean, that's if you're lucky. We got a mail yesterday from someone, I think in one of the northern states, saying I buy this thing for over 200, and that's like normal anyway. So we need to get those answers. We need to get them yesterday, but the next best time is at least this morning.
And then let's also be clear that the fact that we don't have fuel is responsible for so many things, including the collapse of many businesses and losses of many jobs. I think those issues people need to understand. I have no doubt that the authorities know what the issues are, whether or not they are willing to communicate, as you asked yesterday, to Nigerians. I think that's another thing altogether. Chamberlain.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And you know, some of those persons who wrote in did tell us that they buy fuel in some places, for instance, in Jos, 250 naira per liter. Yeah, that's how some of them get it. And it's like that in several other areas. So, I mean, about now, you just have so many people who are facing this challenge will tell you all they want for Christmas is a fuel Christmas. So, fuel available Christmas period. Which, yeah, they will always tell you we will have enough supply for Yuletide. But sometimes I just sit back and wonder, when we go through all of these things in the country and this unique period that we're in, where a lot of people will be going out there to make a decision concerning who leads, who directs, who takes decisions that will affect their lives for the next 4 years, I often wonder if they factor in all these kind of challenges. Do they actually listen with their inner ear and find out who can address this challenge that I'm facing above all else? Yeah, above all else, because there are several considerations when people vote, especially when you get there on that day. So if they go through all of this and then it's time for them to go out and make a decision, you just wonder, what's the correlation? Do we factor all of those things in, or it just appears as though we completely forget about whatever it is that we've gone through and then vote based on whatever reason that may not necessarily address the challenges that we face or have faced or don't want to face? I don't know. It's just quite interesting. Interesting people we are, and because on that day, all sorts of considerations go through several scenarios, people's minds before we decide what happens. Well, we'll talk about that a bit today. We always will be up until the election day to help people shape the narratives and make up their minds or bring forward what people think. Those who are putting themselves up for office, just bring them a little closer to as many people as possible, as many who can see us wherever they are. So that will be that one. But yeah, let's go ahead now, guys, and take a look at what the dailies are reflecting this morning. And we will go ahead and start with Vanguard newspaper today. And this is another huge consideration of ours here. Brain drain. We know we've seen several reports and highlighted several of them concerning how much Nigerians spend in West Africa for education, beyond Africa for education. So much goes in there. But look at this one now. We now have 1 doctor to 6,400 patients. That's ascribed to medical experts. Say Nigeria in emergency situation. 38.7% of Nigerians suffer health care depreciation, ascribed to a certain NBS report, as NMA asks FG to act fast. So I think I saw some reports about possible industrial action on the part of health workers, doctors, if that's right. And then some response from Ministry of Labor. Who knows? You know, it just appears as though we always attempt to do the same things, and then as to themselves, they're not equally happy concerning how the authorities are handling those scenarios. So in Maiduguri, for instance, the lecturers went on strike. Students were supposed to be writing exams, so they held them up and protested the pro rata payment, which they were not happy about. So there you go. That is the big one right here today. Nigeria ranks first among world's cannabis use country. Buba Marwa, not a pleasant one going on in the country, something we need to address. And speaking about politics again, guys, 2023, APC makes U-turn, declares support for Beavers IREV. Whoa, what is going on here? Oh boy. Well, that is what you've seen here, but that scenario where you have to make a U-turn, you just wonder how some of these things play out. So, take a look at what's happening on the back page. Wow, what a matchup it was yesterday. Portugal 3, Ghana 2. Ronaldo becomes first ever player to score in 5 World Cups. And goodness me, that particular match, I know there are several others, but that match got a lot of tongues wagging in the first instance, people could not just understand, why didn't VAR even have a look? And then those of you who have your own VARs with your remote, they wound back and saw that the player clearly got the ball, and Ronaldo kicked at the man's foot and dived. And then the penalty was awarded. Is that match fixing or what? What do they call that? I don't know these days. Well, that's Vanguard today anyways.
Oh, that match was it was an interesting one, and I wasn't quite happy with the first result, Cameroon, and we were hoping that Ghana would at least make up, as it were, and then it ended that way. Especially that last, that very last opportunity.
You want to go to the Supreme Court?
Or the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Makes sense, right? But I'm not doing that. I'm only showing you what's on the front page of the Guardian newspaper next. So let's show you front page of the Guardian newspaper next. That's where I'm going to this morning, okay? Make no mistake about that. And it just paints a picture of the situation in Nigeria, even much more for you. Another angle to this one. We saw health for Vanguard. Now the Guardian is focusing on the oil sector. Decline in oil gas output hampers growth amid recession fears. So this, of course, has a ripple effect on the economy. But let me just break it down. On you and I, right? We make up the economy, really. You see the rider, Nigeria in technical recession, say experts. So something to chew on, really, this morning. That's the reality. And it's good we're on the verge of another decision-making process. So this should go into those factors that people will bring together to make a decision, not just for the president, by the way. You have governors, you have lawmakers at the federal level, lawmakers at the state level. So it's across the board. So use that to at least make your selections or make your decision. After all, it's really about security, economy, the welfare and protection of citizens.
Don't forget what Mr. Oluwade said yesterday when we asked him about how government was going to be able, if ever, to pull Nigerians out of poverty, given the poverty figures and all. He was very clear about the fact that we don't have a grand vision. So when we are going to employ people to do a job, they don't even know what they're going to go in there to do. So we need to be clear. What's the job that you're giving this fellow?
Lift 100 million people out of poverty?
Lift 100 million. Enough? Let's say that is our vision. How is education going to help that? How is health going to? How is the legislature going to help with that?
So we've had the NESP. Now we have the National Development Plan. We have all of those encapsulated in different documents. So, isn't that vision?
Are they fruits or roots?
I'm confused.
Okay. Let's just go to the papers.
Okay. All right. What do you think of the fruits and roots? There's a lot more stories on the front page. Pictures showing the aftermath of the floods, picking bits, pieces of ruined investments, livelihoods. So it's not really over just yet for those affected by the floods. Yes, the floods may be receding, but what's happening to their lives and all of that? It's a lot really on the front page of The Guardian this morning. I'd like you to take a look. But finally, PDP, CUPP, others slam Adamu over deployment of BVAS. But I hear that there's been a U-turn now. So
was it a U-turn or an
just
interpretation?
Oh, I see. Okay. That's the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Nigeria News Direct is also interested in the oil and gas sector this morning. Oil sector woes worsen Nigeria's GDP, fortune, revenue, other economic indices. Seems, the two papers compared notes, just use different words, but that's what you have on the front page. As non-oil sector grows by 4.27% in real terms in Q3 2022, contributed to 94.34% to total GDP, as oil sector declines to 5.66% to aggregate real GDP. Experts react, fear tougher times for Nigerians. Goes back to the same issue we just talked about. It's not just for us to nitpick on what the issue. Oh, there's a leakage here. Okay, let's deal with it.
We're good at identifying, right?
No, but how do we ensure that those little signs? Why don't we go to the root of the matter? For instance...
Oh, that's a fruit and root.
Exactly. For instance, we have been crying our voices hoarse, concerning the leakages exposed, documented in the Auditor General's reports for donkey years. Okay, maybe not many donkey years, but quite a number of years. And what do we do? Anyway, that's the lead of the paper this morning. NITCOM, NAPAC present relief materials to NEMA for flood victims. That and a number of other stories you'll find interesting on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct this morning.
Take a look at New Telegraph next. Small arms proliferation threat to Nigeria's security. Monguno, well, they're saying that yet again. Buhari calls for greater cooperation to combat volatility threats in West Africa. So there are different figures actually about, the veracity of what we're dealing with concerning this one, and how do we even check them? It just appears as though, who knows? I don't know if there's been an update or what update there is concerning those weaponry that was seized at the ports at different times. Even the ones that were seized some years ago at an airport as well. They're just different scenarios, really. But this is their big lead on the front page here today. And then to politics, Obasanjo to youths. Don't allow those messing up your future to succeed. Says participation will guarantee their tomorrow. It means get into the game. Don't just be there. Don't be an armchair politician or just armchair critic. Get in there and you can make the change from within, he seems to be saying here. Engaging presidential candidates, not endorsement. That is subscribed to CAN. So, again, that call is there. Start from somewhere. Don't just go right up to the biggest position. Local government, you can build something from the grassroots. They did it in Hong Kong to all those young lads, just moved in massively and went from the grassroots to see how they could seize certain positions, and they succeeded. So that way, they have a long-term plan. They inch their way gradually to the top. That's the way some of these things go. And then just right beside that one, 2023 presidential campaign. I'll dialogue with all agitators, says Tinubu. Atiku promises jobs, infrastructure. Obi represents body, soul of Ndigbo. We support him to the hilt. Ohaneze tells Northern elders. There you go. And then on this petrol matter, this is above this lead story. PMS, marketers justify pump price above 200 naira per litre. Attribute scarcity to dry depots. So you just wonder, so what are the agencies such as the NNDPRA and several of them, who are those to ensure that they don't sell above the approved pump price of what? 148.17 in many cases. So who knows? Can they just fix those prices like that and the authorities look the other way? Why are people buying it for 250 naira and it's still going on and nothing has been done about it? Why don't they have all those depots? Why do those independent marketers have got to take it from a separate depot? So these are several questions which you just wonder if there will be cogent answers to all of them. Well, that is New Telegraph this morning.
Well, while, the big stories on other front pages are focused on the effect of governance, politics, and lack of it, maybe, the Nigerian Tribune talks about the politics itself. And we need to draw that link. And this is an adoption of Peter Obi. Counters out Babachir on his own, Dogara's group. Backstory to this one. Yesterday, the former SGF endorsed Mr. Peter Obi, the Obi-Dati candidacy, and given different reasons. So this is like what the response or an addendum to that. But take a look at the writers. Group's position will be made known at an interfaith event soon. Dogara Achuba, 6 others say. And you have a statement from Mr. Babachir Lawal himself. Why Northern Christians in APC adopted Obi? Well, he said he's still in the APC. The question is for others.
Working for the help or endorsing another candidate.
Is that anti-party? Is that against the constitution of Nigeria itself?
I don't even know what
freedom of association and
because
all of that.
On the same platform, 5 months ago, he was very, very confident that the candidate of his party will win and that everything would be done by including himself.
He was?
Oh, yes.
The current candidate, you mean?
Yes, the current candidate of his party.
That'll be interesting to see.
You know, so
really.
that's what he said 5 months ago on the same platform where he spoke yesterday about this.
Okay, so that's the lead for Nigerian Tribune. Maybe some catching up to do. Just, find out about these things. There's some other stories that might interest you. Adeleke kicks as Oyetola appoints 30 permanent secretaries, 3 days to exit. And that's some intriguing thing right there. But take a look at the writer. Those who accept appointment will exit service from November 28. Or should governor-elect threaten? So you just need to pay attention to that one as well. Don't forget, governance is actually the big picture. So we hope it doesn't affect governance. And just one more for you. For the political, what did they say, gladiators this morning. Maybe it's a sheet your swords. Soludo hugs Obi in Anambra. Yeah, there you go.
As a second of such.
Says I will resolve differences with him soon. So you should hug, that's your opponent. That's your friend in the other party, or that's your social media foe.
Who is actually in your compound.
So just let's love each other, right? That's the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Well, Leadership newspaper, Leadership Friday, is also looking in the same direction as the Nigerian Tribune this morning. APC Muslim ticket. Dogara, Achuba, 6 others disown Babachir over support for Obi. Story is on page 4. says he can't speak for group to make position public soon. We can't force anyone to support our candidate, ascribed to Labour Party. Atiku Tinubu take campaign to Kwara Ebonyi. Find the details of that, as said on page 4. That Adeleke story is also right under the nameplate. Adeleke vows to sack Oyetola's last-minute perm sex. And all of that you'll find tucked on page 6 of the Leadership newspaper this morning. FG destroys 3,000 seized weapons. Why? Find the details continue on page 7. And PMB6 Regional Cooperation on Terrorism, Trans-Border Crimes. All of that on the inside pages this morning. That's the paper today.
All right, let's go. Daily Times as the next paper we've got for you here this morning. The big lead on the front page of Daily Times 2023. PDP, APC trade words over BVAS IREV. That's what you see right here. Rejection of BVAS IREV confirms APC's frustration, says Atiku campaign. No, we're not against deployment of BVAS, electronic transmission of results, ascribed to the APC. INEC, no plan to shut down result viewing portal. So that conversation is going on. And in a way, it's kind of good because it puts a lot of things out there such that the authorities can know that lots of people are watching. But above all else, don't forget that that collective resolve of those who vote will be needed, even though the BVAS and IRF will be deployed, because at those points where there may be no network and people vote and it's not uploaded yet, they're having to move to where there's network before they can load. There's vigilance. You have to be vigilant at that point in time and go with them to wherever and ensure that the right results are uploaded so that they don't snap a fake result sheet and upload it. So party agents, those who voted, you all have to be vigilant because it is your vote that we're talking about here, and it has to count. We can't spend all this amount of money, to INEC, and then all this equipment, all this time, and then it doesn't work. It defeats the entire purpose. So look at this at the bottom strip as well. Buhari proffers solution to terrorism threats in West Africa. You can go ahead and check that one out as well. And then strike FG to review CONHES salary structures. That is Daily Times this morning.
Is next on the lineup, and it concerns the BVAS back and forth. And you see APC recants, backs BVAS, retransmission of poll results. So does this put to rest all of that? Well, PDP blasts ruling party over BVAS, IREV portal rejection. So perhaps you might want to find out more details on the inside pages. You see, FG reintroduces history in basic education curriculum. Is there some jubilation? Or students thinking, no way, just one more subject on the lineup? Or what's that thing called, the timetable?
Schedule. Yes, it's timetable, yes.
Okay. You said schedule.
Yeah.
Schedule is for officers.
Yeah.
It's been a while, I know.
Yeah, a long while, actually.
And you see, it begins training of 3,700 history teachers. It's important to actually speak to this history matter. I mean, there are lots of things we have lost, or things that have been changed, or that have been just tweaked. Imagine other people telling your story. It's just really sad.
I think there is a very important need for people to even understand why. Why is it that, you know, we don't have, we took out history from the classrooms in the first place?
Yeah.
Why did that happen? That needed to be, we can't just
gloss over it, right?
Gloss over it. Why? So it doesn't happen again.
And we need to quantify just the losses we have.
Exactly, because we have no idea. Secondly, I have also, you know, I suspect that we don't have a harmonious history, one narrative for Nigeria. Perhaps that is the reason for all of this. I don't know, because
you know, in journalism, there are always different sides to the story,
yes.
right?
So it depends on what side of the elephant you're looking at it from.
But truth shouldn't be relative, I imagine.
Truth shouldn't be, but who is telling the truth? I mean, you go to any part of the country now. For instance, what is the single narrative of what happened concerning Nigeria's civil war? That is perhaps one of the reasons many people are wondering, look, we need to have one story. We need to, okay, it affected you this way, it affected you that way, fine, but what is the story?
But has there been really true forgiveness, reparation, and all of that?
Exactly.
That should happen first, and then we can now talk about the story.
Even though that attempt was made during the Gowon government, for which reason actually the NYSC, you know, part of which reason the NYSC was introduced, but the need to, you know, to heal all wounds, what do you call reconciliation and all of those things, very, very important.
So, I mean, big one. We'll definitely follow this one, the reintroduction of history into basic education curriculum. I'll just take this one more for you, and I'd like Lagosians to respond. Let us know what you think about this Twitter mail. Lagos records lowest robbery incidents in decades. So that's on the top right corner of a Daily Independent. I mean, you stay in Lagos. If you stay in Lagos, let's know your experience in traffic in your residential areas, because this is saying that Lagos recorded lowest robbery incidents in decades. That's Daily Independent for you this morning.
Even if you don't live in Lagos, you hear stories about Lagos, please let us know what you think. This Nigeria newspaper is next, and it's talking politics. Why court disqualified Tonya Cole as Rivers APC Guber candidate. And there is a quote on the front page, section 182(1) of amended 1999 Constitution says, no person shall be qualified for election to the office of governor of a state if A, subject to the provisions of section 28 of this Constitution, he has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a country other than Nigeria. Did I hear shots fired? And then there's a second rider, APC, PDP disagree on judgment. Of course, that's to be expected. It's politics. That story is on page 4. And the Adeleke story is also there. Adeleke angry over appointment of 30 new permsecs by outgoing governor, Oyetola. And look under the picture on the front page. Child Rights Act now domesticated in 34 states, says FG. Kano, Zamfara yet to comply. And so if this has been done, how soon, how far back was it done? How come we still have such high child multi-dimensional poverty in the country? That report was released in May. How far so far? Where do we go from here? That's This Nigeria this morning.
Now, ICT aggregate boost GDP to 2.25% in Q3. That's just it with the Daily Trust. That's what it is. No rider, no kicker this morning. So there you go. That ends a look at some of the dailies this morning. We will be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Well, it's election season, right? And there is always a lot to talk about. And all kinds of rallies have been going on. We're hoping we'll be able to give you a background, a backstory to the conversation we're about to have now, given what happened in Ibadan or your state. And that's exactly what we should be talking about right now. And of course, the Chief Spokesperson, Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, joins us here in the studio, Dr. Yunus Tanko. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, you've been on the road for long enough.
Sure.
For you, what's different between previous campaigns that you have been a part of and this one?
One of the major things that is so different and so emotional for me is the statement made by a comrade presidential candidate of our party, the CNC in waiting. He said this. He said Nigerians have not gotten the deserved leadership. That 80% of the Nigerian people are working for the Nigerian government. And 20% of that is what the government is rewarding. It's so sad. And to confirm this particular situation, that was when the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics said that 133 million Nigerians are in poverty out of 200 million people.
How is that different from what people have
Good.
had before?
The difference here is that he said, let me change the narrative.
Every
133 people.
Every politician has said that, Dr. Tanko.
Oh,
Every
no.
politician,
But
everyone who wants to become president or governor
we will justify this particular difference by the 7-point agenda of the Labour Party presidential candidate.
Everyone comes with an agenda.
But here we have an agenda that is physical and practicable. That
You
is
still
different.
haven't told me what's different.
One, the difference is that we are changing the narrative from a consumption nation to a production nation. You know, I know, that Nigerians are indebted to about almost 9-point-something trillion.
That statement, just a second, on that on that one, so we take it one after the other. Yes. That particular statement is in the front page of a book written by Professor Oyebanji Ilaroyinka in 2017. So it's not something original to your party.
Of course, I am not claiming the originality, but I am saying that we are providing solution to it. And the provision of solution is simple. While our presidential candidate moved from Maiduguri on his way to Abuja, he noticed the area space. You know that Nigeria is occupied by a landmass of 920 square kilometers. And here, we are underutilized. And so he said that the wealth of this country is in the hands of the northern people because of the area space. One state, Niger State, can turn around the economy of this country. Let's now domicile and change the narrative by producing, encouraging and empowering the teeming population in the north, making them to a productive use to empower our country and change the narrative. While they bring in goods to us, we will now be tripling what we take out of this country as we speak today.
How is the federal government going to be a part of that when the land you're talking about is controlled by the states?
In partnership with the state government. Because the state government have to contribute their quota because the federal government is in control of the total population and the total land.
Has your government, has your party and your candidate been able to even analyze why this partnership between the federal government and states have not happened? Because for as long as I can remember, the Obasanjo government between 1999 and 2007 or thereabout also wanted to change the narrative, move people from consumption to production by championing agricultural productions and all of those things. And up until this moment, it would seem like that was like some kind of pipe dream. So what is it that hinders, hampers, or slows down or inhibits the partnership between the federal government and states?
That is what is contained in the fourth position of our 7-point agenda. He said there's going to be an effective reform in the institution and legal reform to provide good governance for the Nigerian people. In that case, those areas where we have challenges as regard to law that hinders the use of lands and other apparatus that can help the government to perform will be taken care of.
Is that to
and
say
also,
that the National Economic Council is not functional or active enough?
We, you and I and Nigerians can attest to it if it is functional. If it is functional, Nigerians wouldn't have been complaining.
So is that to say that then your government is looking at stepping down the National Economic Council to come up with this idea you're talking about?
Those are contained in the legal reform in which we intend to do, to fight corruption and to ensure that laws that can be of benefit to the Nigerian peoples are provided.
Let's break this down.
Yes.
I think the last time I was in a conversation with you was in Abuja.
Exactly.
Not under the Labour Party, you were under the NC front.
Yes.
I imagine. And now things have since morphed into this. So all of that energy is being pumped into the Labour Party and the candidacy of Mr. Obi. You said earlier on that he spoke about 80% of Nigerians working for the government, I imagine, and only 20% earning from it. I imagine you're saying that, okay, 80%, that's 160 million Nigerians working for the government, even though, I mean, our population says about 40% are under 18. So, I mean, essentially, we don't have as much as 80%, but I just want to understand that context of 80% working for Nigeria and 20% earning. Help us understand that better.
Well, what we are trying to say is that majority of Nigerians are working their, sorry if I can use the word.
No, I understand what you're about to say.
They are working so hard to ensure that the nation survive as a country. But while they are working hard, the government of the day and previous ones have only stifled them. Today, at a point in time we are buying fuel at about 87 naira per litre. Today is 250. At a point in time we are buying a bag of rice at 8,700. Today it's about how much? You can do the mathematics. You can see. And today, as we move, the dollar and the naira has skyrocketed. And so the people are being stifled. Yesterday, a friend of mine who was a doctor has left the shore of this country because we are continuously denying the people the right for survival. And so they are looking for a way out of this country, which is totally unacceptable. And that is the reason why we are so happy that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, Comrade Peter Obi, when he traveled out of the country, you will always see the huge cry. But he has been able to connect with the Nigerian people. And so we are bringing back everybody through his good leadership to emancipate Nigeria from the shackle of poverty. And to confirm that, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics did their own mathematics, even if we give you a statistics and saying 80%. Now, it's also recognized that particular, if it's 70 to 80% of the Nigerian people are in abject poverty, not said by Peter Obi, not said by me, but the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics under this particular government.
So I mean, there have been questions about your candidate's manifesto, but it looks like you're anchoring it around the 7-point agenda.
True.
So moving forward, is that the manifesto?
Of course.
Now you refer to him as comrade.
Yes, I do.
I don't know what has changed, but would that be his manifesto now, the 7-point agenda?
The 7-point agenda is the summary of the total content inside the manifesto. And of course, you heard him say...
The manifesto, is it ready?
Yeah, it is ready. He will unveil it officially. Okay. And he has spoken about it in the business meeting that he held here in Lagos. And he always mentioned it even in Ibadan when we were in Ibadan. So that is the summary of the content of the manifesto.
Let's talk about the rally in Ibadan. I mean,
yes.
Because it was, I wonder, I think he was asking if it's the biggest so far for the Labour Party. Is that the biggest?
We keep on moving. We can't say biggest. There's a lot going on.
No, I'm saying, is it bigger than the previous ones?
We had a mammoth crowd in Edo State. It covered the whole city. So it's not even in the hall. So we can say Edo was even bigger. But then here, we were able to have a peaceful rally that the Ibadan people show us love. Nobody thought we could get that kind of numbers in Ibadan.
Speaking of the peaceful aspect, I know there are other things that happened, but regarding this, there was a video that made rounds, images of a certain man who was said to have been arrested with a knife or a dagger, a weapon, and then they said that, well, thankfully he was arrested. I know you put out a statement.
Yes, I did.
What exactly was that about?
There are internal security arrangements by the party and the invited guests. And one of those particular individuals is a security operative for internal security.
Is it with the police, the DSS?
No, of course he was, but they've already profiled him, and of course he will be released because...
No, I mean, like, is he part of the police?
Oh, no. I said
DSS?
internal. I said internal security arrangement. Apart from the DSS or the conventional, we have our own internal. Yes, that was all.
Because I'm looking at the guidelines for campaigning. It was released by INEC yesterday, and it says that no person attending a political rally or procession shall be in possession of any offensive weapon except a police officer or a member of a security agency authorized to carry arms and is specifically posted to be present at that political rally or procession. So essentially it has to be an authorized, maybe member of a police or any other security agency. But you say it's an internal security.
Exactly.
So help us understand, is it any of the security agencies of government?
I have been mentioning that it's an internal security. Unfortunately, he was carrying a weapon, and then that was why the police was called in to look at it and profile him and do what is expected the police to do. So that has been sorted out. Okay, so him bearing a weapon, don't you think it goes against the guidelines? I just told you that we involve the police in it so that they can deal with the matter according to the rule of law, because we operate under the rule of law. Okay, so
are any of your internal security people, are they sanctioned to carry any form of weapon?
No, none of them is sanctioned because we follow the rule of law. We are not allowed to carry any weapon based on the provisions of the law. So unfortunately he was, but then we now have to involve the police so that they can profile him and know exactly what they, and then he was trying to make sure that not even the principal himself, he was actually with another group. Right. He was not even sanctioned under the Labour Party. But of course, everybody that comes here came under our invitation. Quite all right. But the truth about it is that he was representing a particular group and protecting it, so he comes under the invitation.
So exactly what, when you say protecting, exactly what are your internal security officials supposed to do?
You know, we've been under serious attack. It started from Lagos. When the registration of voters started, our people were denied and they were being attacked by thugs right here in Lagos. And when we move around again, we had series of denials right there in Lafia, who were denied using of the state's popular known venues. We had similar situation in Edo that we had to result into using that particular, and then the whole people now engulf the whole city completely to show their sign of acceptance of Comrade Peter Obi. And at the same time, we have issues in Ebonyi, Kogi, our billboards and everything were being destroyed. There is near to perfect position that they are being attacked physically. So some other people who feel that we need to have protection provided their own security. So that particular incident happened under that particular scenario because of the situation that we are seeing. So we didn't want to take any chances by providing security around the guests that we invited. Right. Unfortunately, that particular person was carrying a weapon against the provisions of the law. Okay, so quite a number of other issues came up just before. I mean, there were a lot of people waiting for the arrival of your candidate in Ibadan. And then reports started filtering in about the Obedient plane, whether it was grounded, and then a statement was put out saying that it was grounded by powers that be. And I mean, there has been a response from the NCA and all of that. But what is this story around the Obedient plane? Was he grounded? Was it delayed? Was it a technical issue that had to be maybe returned back to the airport? What exactly happened? Well, the truth about it is that for the first time in the history of this country, we're providing a more sophisticated and more branded way of campaign. And a lot of people didn't like it. How do you mean? The plane? Yeah, the plane was branded. No, but you know it was branded. Okay. It was branded. Is that the sophistication you talk about? Well, of course, because a lot of people use commercial and other way of arriving at the place. But you can see, our principal arrived at any convened ground with a branded plane, and at the same time, sometimes using choppers to ensure that he is there at that particular point in time. I can tell you that was the first time in this country, and a lot of people are not really happy about it. So technically, a lot of things come into play. Whether they use technicalities to ground the plane or they use forcefulness to them, but the truth about it is that that plane was not allowed to take off from Abuja, where a lot of our people were supposed to be at the campaign ground. But eventually, you see, there's a way in which this particular campaign is going. There's a hand of God in it. Every way they try to block us, we appear strong and steady, and we are moving. Every time they try to bring us down using any form of position, we will debunk it and then they become the laughing stock. Even when they try to even use some of our words against us, even from our background, we put them to shame and the people take them. So gradually, this particular movement has a destination.
Okay, so
not by you, not by me, not by anybody, but God.
So you're saying that indeed that the plane was grounded?
Of course it was.
Because, I mean, the spokesperson of the NCA is quoted as saying that the NCA didn't ground any aircraft. The aircraft said to be grounded is mere sensationalism. The reason was that the flight crew made an air return soon after takeoff, as they had an issue they needed to come back and correct. I don't know if you were in the plane or if you were close to what exactly happened, but does that represent what played out?
Not true, because for me, I was actually ahead of the major team that left Abuja. But from the report I got, that the plane was not allowed to move because of some technical issue. Then digging deep, some of them refer to the fact that the plane was not allowed to leave because majority of them were at the airport. I was calling them to know, but they weren't allowed to move. So these are sequence of events that has happened that we are so glad in a way that they are even making us more popular. Any attempt whatsoever to derail any of our activities is making us more popular and endearing us to the heart of the Nigerian people.
Okay, let's talk about one of the biggest highlights from that campaign and just get a sense of how this might impact on this movement you talked about. Chief Ayo Adebanjo.
Exactly.
Was at that event, and I think it was a big thing for a lot of people.
Sure.
I mean, the leader of Afenifere in an ancient, town of Ibadan, which is very cultural, the Yoruba people. And then he reiterated his support for your candidate. And I wonder how significant this is for your candidate, because, I mean, we don't know the membership of Afenifere, hundreds, thousands, maybe even more, but we're not able to put a finger to it. So how much can that translate to votes, essentially?
For a 94-year-old person, if I'm not mistaken about his age, for him to have moved out of his comfort zone and to come and endorse Peter Obi, Comrade Peter Obi live, was a huge success and so elated. Not only to us as a people, as a group, or as a party, but to the entire Nigerian people. And this is my reason. He has a domain. He comes from a different group. He's a Yoruba man, but he's interested in the unity of this country. He knows the danger in which we are facing. Is it the decay in the economy, or the infrastructural development, or the tribal sentiment that is dividing this country, or the fact that our children cannot go to school comfortably and be sure that they can graduate, or in the issue of unemployment and completely dehumanization of the Nigerian people, locally and internationally. And he said, it is time for us to unite this country. It is time to rescue this country. It is time for us to ensure that for once, those that have been crying for marginalization are included in the governance. That is exactly what he did. And I think every sane human being, every sane Nigerian should follow the cue of Papa. Papa was not tribalistic. Papa was not sentimental. Papa was not degrading himself in his own level of credibility. But what he brings into the fore is unifying a country.
So in terms of the electoral value,
electoral value is huge. It's huge because those who are doubting, those who do not believe that Nigerians can easily come out of the scuffle and thinking that we cannot be united will. And I'm telling you, this particular action will be followed suit by other people.
So you think that he's speaking perhaps for the Yoruba people?
Not, he gone beyond that. He's speaking in the interest of the Nigerian people.
Dr. Sanko, on that, because I know Kayode may want to move away from it.
Yeah.
There are those who would reckon that in 1999, before the 1999 election, Afenifere did not support a Yoruba man. And that Yoruba man won. Did not support the candidate at the time, and the candidate won. And that's not the first time, it's not the second time either.
Exactly.
So right now, Afenifere is also supporting someone else. And
not
so there are those who are, he's Afenifere leader. So there are those who are also questioning how going back to Kayode's question, if their candidacy or adoption of someone else or whichever candidate at a particular time did not convert to votes or victory for the candidate they supported, what's the assurance that it's going to happen this time?
Well, don't forget also, at a point in time in the North, the Arewa Consultative Forum did not support a candidate, but the candidate also won. So, and then it's not a narrative that can be justiciable. Even though at a particular time in which they did not support that particular candidate, they have their reasons. But this particular situation is completely different.
How is it different?
Because,
you also validated what I said earlier, because
we are
a sociopolitical group, do they have that significant electoral value that will convert to victory?
Exactly. When it comes to the issue of the decay and the division in this country, don't forget in 2015, we had similar situation where the country was almost divided to a point of pieces. We are talking about rescuing Nigeria, for crying out loud. Are you happy with the situation that we find ourselves? Kayode, are you happy? Nigerians, are they happy? None of us, we are not happy.
Every politician
this is a different scenario. It's not about politics this time around. It's gone beyond politics. It's about this rescuing of this country. We are going down.
A couple of issues to
As a
also
people.
raise, Dr. Tanko. Two issues, really. First is, regarding the support, Mr. Babachir Lawal is the most recent to support your candidate. He still says it's in the APC, but he's supporting your candidate. And this morning, other members of his group, which we have seen them speak together in recent times, says, well, he's on his own on that one, that they're not on supporting Obidati candidacy with him. And I wonder how you're receiving that. It looks like mixed feelings, especially because he says that your candidate is the one that answers the questions of, ethnicity balance and religious balance. So does your candidate want to, carry that, saying that, okay, well, yeah, it's a turn of the Southeast, because that's essentially what it's been said, for the sake of equity and fairness. Does he like that kind of tag, saying that I'm the solution to the religious and perhaps ethnicity imbalance?
Comrade Peter Obi did not project himself from the ethnic background. He didn't at all. He said that don't vote for me because I'm an Igbo man. Don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. Vote for me because I'm a Nigerian. The target is about Nigeria. But if tribes and religious groups decide to endorse him, we will appreciate it. The same scenario is not different from the Afenene group that happened with Babachir and Dogara. In fact, we are happy. We are very glad with the fact that at least some people are seeing the light. Look at it. There is obedience in every household of Nigeria.
Why is it every sane Nigerian should support your candidate? So would you consider those not supporting them as not sane?
No. They have their reason. We will talk to them and get them on the moral situation, just like what I'm doing right now. You look at your home right now. Don't go anywhere. Where have you found short? Is it in terms of the children education, or in terms of the dwindling economic situation? Or is it in the time of the way in which Nigerians look at you elsewhere? Or in the fact that probably that you are indebted to almost how many trillions of naira? You are not even sure. So it's a decay situation. Every Nigerian that joined us in this particular struggle is attempting to rescue the country from the decay in which we find ourselves.
By the way,
it's simple.
Are you promising that your candidate will not borrow?
Borrow? We are taking, within the 4 years in his office, he said that we are going to change the level of our inflation rate from 33%.
No, this is about borrowing.
No. That's why we are interested in production.
So you will not borrow?
No, we are not interested. We will look at the possibility, but we will major more on trying to make sure that the Nigerian situation is stable. Quite different from what we are seeing.
Well, let's talk about election management now, because it's also a big one.
Yes.
Just about 92 days to the elections. And
exactly.
Lots of comments about, what will be deployed, BVAS, IREV, and all of that. Well, it looks like the APC might be making a U-turn, especially from the reports coming up today. But I wonder, what is the position of your party regarding the use of BVAS and IREV, especially because there are questions about, electricity supply, network, and all of that raised by the APC chairman?
Oh, law of karma. is so interesting. History has a way of repeating itself. In 2015, this same leadership, this same party came to us when I was IPAC chairman. They were kicking against the use of accreditation machine. The same position.
You mean the APC?
Yes, the APC. The same position that you are mentioning. That time it was the PDP in government. And they said that the PDP is trying to manipulate the system, steal people's vote. And so we must support the idea of the using of the accreditation machine. Unfortunately for them, they didn't know that the position of the IPAC as at that time was we will support that particular use of accreditation machine for clarity and ensuring credible election. So today, the same people who were agitating against the use of the accreditation machine at that time are the same people now voice for us, doing more than worse situation that the previous government had done, demanding that the beavers and all other apparatus should not be used.
That's not what the APC chairman said.
No.
The APC chairman said, just a second,
okay.
The APC chairman said that, look, we want confidence from INEC 100% that this technology that is being deployed is going to be effective. He raised the issues that Kayode, pointed out, that look, these are drop downs, these are let downs, these are points that if we are not careful, that is the reason that he said he doubts that we have 100% technology network coverage all over the nation. That that he says that their party needs conviction that there will be no problem.
But they have network to withdraw money everywhere in this country. When it comes to election, they don't have network.
So is it selective network?
Yes, let me tell you, the truth is clear that they are attempting to manipulate the system and circumvent the rule of law and then suppress the will of the people.
You think that's what they're trying to do?
Of course, it's very clear.
Okay.
And what options are available to Labour?
Of course, the Electoral Act, Section 64, 4, 5, and 6 is clear. In that time, we didn't even have a legal backing. But here we have a legal backing. And so if they are not satisfied, they should go to the court.
Okay. Well, there are so many other issues to raise with you, maybe in other days to come.
91 days?
Well, in those 91 days, he's still... Well, we may not be able to have you for 91 days, but we have to thank you very much for being here. Dr. Eunice Atanko is Chief Spokesperson, Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And we say amen. Well, there is more where that came from after this break. Please stay with us.
All right, welcome back. So to give us an insight into what could be going on with some of these things and what possible solutions can there be to address all of those challenges and more this morning, we've got Alhaji Mujahid Dokubo Asari joining us here in the studio. He's the Alabo Ediabali of the Kingdom of Kalabari, the former president, Ijaw Youth Council, leader, Niger Delta People's Salvation Front, and Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, my brother.
Well, this challenge that the country faces, time and again, we're looking for solutions from almost all over the place. But give us an insight, because, I mean, you do know a lot about what's happening. What could be going on? Why is this consistently happening, this crude oil theft?
A lot of people justify the activities of these criminals on the plight of the people of the Niger Delta. Now, they try to justify that the resources belong to us, which is true, and that we have the right to have access to these resources, which is also true. But a group of people, an infinitesimal percentage of the people, with people from outside the Niger Delta, go into alliance, become business partners, and they steal these resources. And in stealing these resources, they inflict environmental genocide on the people. They inflict economic genocide on the people, because the mainstay, I am an Ijaw man, I'm from Obuama, I'm from Calabar. Now, the mainstay of the economy of Ijaw people is fishing. The discharges from their illegal activity, whether it is taken with tankers outside, or whether it is what they call Fire Artisan Refinery, the discharges that they discharge does not meet international standard in the oil industry. So they discharge all the residue, everything, into the sea. And this affects the marine life, kill everything. Our people can no longer fish. They are not up to 1% of the population.
People who they go into business partnership with?
Yes, no, the people from the region who are now funded, in most cases, they are funded by outsiders. The people who bring these big tankers are not Niger Deltans. If they are Niger Deltas, there will be so few. Maybe those who have access to government and government money. Because to get a tanker from here to Togo or Ghana or Cote d'Ivoire, because this is where most of the stolen oil is sold. The government knows about this thing. You need close to $1 to $2 million US dollars
to get a tanker.
Yes.
To steal some of this.
Yes, that you see. There's a mother vessel. The mother vessel anchors outside Nigerian territorial waters. Then there's a feeder vessel. This one, 2,000 tons, 3,000 tons, flat bottom, or so on. So as to go into the creeks, get this thing, and they bring it, they shuttle. And to fill, most of these tankers take up to 1 month.
1 month to finish one operation?
Yes. Wow. 2,000 tons is loaded. 2,000, the highest that can go into the creek, a flat bottom vessel can go in, is 3,000 tons. 3,000 tons is bigger than this, your channel television house. Barge, self-propelled barge. So they go to fetch from the manifold, or now they fetch directly from wellhead. This is where the mega money is. This is where the mega money is. They now take this shuttle vessel to the mother vessel, which will be like 1 million barrels. So calculate 2,000. So if they have 2, 3, 4 people from Ijaw people from the Niger Delta, because majority of the low-level involvement are Ijaw people, are my own Ijaw people. So they now load. Where is the security? Where is the Navy?
Because that's natural custom.
We're coming. Where is the Navy? Where is the customs? Where is NIMASA? These are questions people should be able to ask. This does not concern NNPC now, because we always play this blame game. Is NNPC, is this one? No. This one does not concern the one that takes place at the discharging point, which is the terminal.
Which agency is supposed to take care of that discharging point at the terminal?
At the discharging point, there are so many agencies. Military intelligence is there. NNPC, different department of NNPC are there. NIMASA is there. They are that discharge point. But we are now talking of the one that is outside official stealing of these resources. Koro thief, night and the thief. Now, this vessel 2,000, 3,000 say they have 3 shuttle vessels. These 3 shuttle vessels go from these manifolds or wellheads and discharges outside Nigerian territorial waters in the night. They start maybe around 8 a.m., 8 p.m. And by 2, they finish loading. Then they go to they go outside the territorial waters and they discharge. So now calculate if it is a 1 million barrel tanker, it's a 500,000 barrel tanker. Calculate how many days, how many weeks, how many months it will take to fill a super tanker like that. So in all this, during all this period, are we pretending that the security is not there? Are we pretending the Navy is not there? NIMASA is not there?
So clearly, these security agencies know something. Very
Yes,
clearly.
Definitely they do. We should not be doing hide and seek as if this thing is rocket science, we don't know what is happening. They do. Now, I cannot say much at what happened in official, at Focados, at Escravos, at Bonny Terminal, at Ibom Terminal. I cannot say. Because I don't work in an NPC. But we know that racketeering is going on there.
In those terminals too.
Yes, now we have seen it now. Well, we have seen the instruction point, the joint and everything. We are seeing them.
Can these things happen without collusion from insiders in NNPC?
How can that happen without collusion? How will that happen? Without people colluding with them. That's why the GMD of an NPC said his life is in danger. That's why he said his life is in danger. The life of everybody who comes out to confront them is in danger. It's people like us that are gra people that they can't do us anything. We said this, you can't do us anything. You know if you are dead, are you not afraid of dying? The same way you are afraid of dying, that's the same way I'm afraid of dying. So if you think you are going to come and get me, sorry for you. Because definitely, if you pull the trigger first, maybe you get me. But if you fail, that's it. So those people, those big men like GMD and NNPC and so on, these things are happening, they say my life is in danger. Yes, it's true. Look, you make more money from stealing oil than going into drugs. So why? You do nothing. They just load. Then you come to the artisan refinery. They call Profire. They cook this product. They try to, in a very crude way, they try to refine this product. After refining this product, these petrol tankers, vehicles that come, are they eating? Are they eating? Are they not plying the road? When they carry their cargo, do they hide them? No. And there you have IG monitoring team on the road. You have civil defense on the road. You have regular police on the road. You have army checkpoints on the road. Are they not seeing these people?
So that decision that the NNPC took to award this contract to protect the pipelines and stop this to government Ekpemukpolo, how do you perceive it? Is it going to work?
It is the will. For instance, when government came out with this policy of changing the Naira, it triggers a fall in the value of foreign currency for a few days, not up to a week. But all of a sudden, the will to pursue it to the end was not there. And the Naira started declining again. There must be the will because the people are suffering. The will to sustain it is what we are talking about. It's not who the contract is given to. Contract is given to Captain Osa's company, late Captain Osa's company, and the company of government, Ekpenkpodo. It's not about who you give the contract to. The people in NNPC must have the will. From what had transpired so far, from what I see, because me, I say things very raw. You might not like the way I express myself. I say my truth. It's kokolo. I say it very raw. From what the GMD has done, even if they didn't give me, I am entitled to it. But what the GMD has done, going and exposing this thing, whatever it is what, is a pointer that something different is happening now. It's a pointer that something different is happening now. These things have been existing over the years. And nobody bothered. Everybody knows it. I know it. Tom Polo knows it. The people in NNPC know that these pipes are connected and they're like sucking blood, they're leeches, they're sucking the blood of the people. Everybody knows it. So if the GMD now came out for the first time, they call him chief executive, now came out courageously to go and these things are getting exposed, we must say that something different is now happening. So it's not about, yes, I disagreed. When Tom Polo was giving the contract, I thought it was wrong. You can't give where I come from to somebody else. I know the place better than he knows it. But I am an Ijaw man. The Ijaw nation intervened. Yes, please. This is not why we should quarrel. Since this government came, we have survived. I didn't die. So why would you quarrel with your brother because of this?
Are you working together now?
Yes, we are. We talk. We talk. Last Sunday, we spoke. We are supposed to talk on Tuesday because Farah Dagogo was to meet him. We talk. Even though I'm not part of it, we talk. He seeks my advice. And I give him freely because, see, the Ijaw nation is greater than all of us. Whatever I am today, it is the Ijaw nation that made me by the grace of God. So I cannot, Ijaw nation gave me a platform to become president of Ijaw Youth Council.
When you say there has to be will from the NNPC to stop this, so one wonders, having awarded the contract, is it that the GMD of NNPCL will give a contract and then people within the same NNPC will sabotage it?
But this contract has been awarded, they've been awarding this contract from time immemorial.
But you said this one is different. You said something different is happening.
Yes, because the GMD himself or NNPC top shots, I see Bala Uti, I know him, I see all those people. I see them on television right at the spot where these things are happening. The scene of this theft. They go there. This had never happened. And the discovery that has taken place and had been exposed had never happened. This is the first time in the history of this country that this sort of thing is happening. So there is something, when you see something different, you should appreciate it and say, this is different from what we look. When Goodluck was there, we were giving. River State was given to myself, Ateke Tom, Farah Dagogo, and Soboma Jack Risetberi Papa. We had a company, a joint company, ADEFT. And we tried to make sure. And oil theft reduced to almost zero. But this commitment that is going on now was not there. We didn't see an NPC officials coming to go and participate to see, to reveal these things. So whatever we did was something. And then we worked for only 1 year and the contract was cancelled.
Why?
Suspended for no reason. For no reason. Towards the election, it was for 3 months. They didn't pay us. It was Buhari who came. And I continued consistently. Everybody was afraid. I took lawyers who consistently wrote, and they gave us 30% of the value of our contract. 70%, the lawyer, whatever happened, they took it. But what I'm trying to say is this. As at this moment, see, they bring Israelis. They go, Israelis, they're going to fly drones, they're going to rubbish. They were not doing anything. They have a control room, rubbish. They were just collecting the money and we are doing nothing. This money we are talking is billions. Now, it is good that you gave it to the people from the area, the people who are impacted by the activities of these thieves, whose activity does not mean standard international practice. So there are spillages, there are destruction, there are devastation of the environment. Now, these people, you give it to. Maybe some of them are even bunkers. They're involved in bunkering. And because what you're offering them is more than what they will get in bunkering, they will stop with the bunkering.
So does this mean that it will be difficult to prosecute anybody because of the kinds of people that are involved in this crime?
Why? When Buhari first came in with Idiagbon, several people were prosecuted. They went to prison. It's the will we are talking about. During Buhari Idiagbon, several people were prosecuted. Some people, I know an Alhaji in Port Harcourt that was in detention and got blind. He came out blind. And at that time, it was not this sort of magnitude that we are looking at. Look, you are just showing the pipeline with the insertion and the connection. You have not seen the environment, what this has done to the environment. Even the multinational oil firm did not do as much damage to the environment as we have done with our own hand.
How about the cleanup that is going on now?
The cleanup is the most crooked, the most roguish program that had ever been brought. How can you say you are cleaning Ologoni land? Is it Ologoni land that is affected? And we are all watching. And when you talk, Ogoni people will attack you. So we don't have the right to talk. Go to Awaza in Imo State, Abia State, and see what is happening there. You will cry. Go to Ohazi Ebema, go to Guta, and see what is happening in Zombe, and all those places, and see what is happening. You will weep. About 100 and something people were killed. They said about 40 people. He said lie. More than almost 200 people, because I was there. I was there. I have the facts. Go to Cotton Channel. Go to Bile and see what is happening. Go to K.
Well, just before I hand to my colleagues in Lagos and switch to another matter, I mean, lots of people just wondering, when you say that security agencies, NEMASA, customs, and several agencies know about this, they're complicit in this matter. But when, in addition to that, you also say some of your kinsmen at the lower level are also collaborating with some of these people. So would you support all those involved be arrested and prosecuted no matter whose ox is God?
Absolutely. Because the crime they are committing is going to take generations to correct. We are not going to play with them with kid gloves. Because you want to make money, You want to kill thousands of people. You want to impoverish the whole population, change the demography, change the livelihood of the people. As an Ijaw man, there is no land for me to farm. There is no land for me to do anything. I'm a fisherman. So you want to change me from centuries, from time immemorial when we cannot remember. We have been fishermen. You want to change all that. Because of your greed, because of the small money you are going to get. Why the bulk of the money is made by people who are just giving you peanuts.
Let me bring my colleagues from Lagos. They've got questions for you as well. Go ahead, guys.
All right. Thank you, Chamberlain. I just want to maybe widen this, really. The challenge of oil thefts in the Niger Delta region, perhaps beyond. Is it primarily a security challenge, lack of security and all that, or it's a humanitarian challenge, lack of humanitarian well-being, welfare, well-being for the people, such that these activities thrive? I mean, because naturally, if people are not well taken care of, if the environment is being impacted harmfully, they'll look for other means to make up for this. So is this a lack of security? So we'll know where to really focus on. Is it lack of security or the welfare aspect and the environmental issues in the Niger Delta?
My brother, thank you. Security is number one. That is on the side of the government of the Nigerian state. Security is number one. The security is compromised. See, most of the bunkering places, you see army, Nigerian army houseboat fitted with all the guns. Sometimes it is funny when I hear people say that the Nigerian army is not properly equipped. It's a lie. They have everything. They are there. Speedboats, gunboats, drones, everything. Nigerian army, they are there. This is the houseboat. This is one bunkering point there. That is the truth of the matter. That is security. When these ships are packed for 1 month and are taking the feeder vessels to go and feed them, the mother vessel, the Navy cannot see them. We don't have satellites that can capture these things. Are they ants? These are bigger than your studio, bigger than the whole of this building, these self-propelled barges. So that's it. The other one, if we are going to justify that people have the right to resort to self-help, since you don't give us, we go take on our own. So if the people are properly treated, they are treated well, would they do this? And the question is, what is the quantum of the population of the people engaged in this crime against their own self and their people? What is the quantum of the people? The percentage. They are not up to 1%. So 1% should destroy, we are suffering deprivation. 1% now had to further deprivation, commit environmental and economic genocide against us, change the demography, do all sorts of things, change the topography, everything. So what we are saying, they are twins.
Right.
These two factors, the local factor, which the government must improve. The government had NDDC to shut the mouth of the people, shut those of us who have been shouting, so we give you NDDC. We have brought NDDC. How has the NDDC fared? Since this government came into power,
and I wonder,
NDDC from one acting to one, this one sole administrator to this.
speaking of the NDDC, I wonder how you received the new proposed leadership of the NDDC to be headed by, at least to be chaired by Loretta Onoche.
the chairman does not have executive powers. The powers is in the hands of the MD. The MD is one of us. He was publicity secretary of IYC in the Central Zone. He's one of us. This is the first time an hardcore person from the trenches who knows the pains of the people had been appointed, had been chosen, nominated to head NDDC.
Okay, Alhaji Dokubo Asare, there are lots of issues to raise, really, because it will be important to get at least your own wealth of experience on this. And I just remembered that a few days ago, the president inaugurated the Kolmani project. It's possibly holding, what, 1 billion barrels of oil, 500 billion cubic feet of gas. And for some people, it was something to celebrate. And I wonder how you're receiving that one, because they say it's different from what we've seen in the past. But there are fears, again, that hope this will not end the way the Niger Delta region is going right now. So how did you receive that, the Kolmani project, which was just inaugurated?
We thank God for it. I'm so happy, I'm so elated that something has happened. So if the laws will be changed, because oil has now been discovered somewhere else, somewhere away from the Niger Delta, so the laws will be changed, the whole world will see. The same laws that were operating in the Niger Delta that took the land and resources of the people. Now you go somewhere, you want to change the law. That is where grievances will start. People will agitate. So if the same laws that had been made over these years, for which the resources that produce Azigboro, that produce Ken Saro-Wiwa, that produce me and others, who said this thing is wrong, now God has turned it round. We want to see the laws that will be made to govern the business of extracting oil from Bauchi and Gombe.
Okay. Well,
we want to see it.
Okay. I guess we'll wait
then
indeed.
If that happens, we will be free to demand for reparation.
Well, we'll wait,
we'll
I
be
guess.
free to demand for reparation.
Yeah. But let me ask you this, and perhaps by way of, as a Nigerian, a patriotic Nigerian that you are, lessons that must be learned and that must not be repeated anywhere else where Nigeria would discover oil. But speak specifically to the welfare of the people. And I know that you and generations of Niger Delta leaders have been very, very passionate and concerned about that. And that's how we've come to where we are now. In your opinion, what are those things that you think the federal government must do now to make life better for the greatly impoverished people of the Niger Delta who, as you said, have been unable to do what they are used to, which is fish farming, among other things? What are the lessons that we have learned from this and which must not be repeated in Kolmani? And in what way do you think government should, as a matter of justice and fairness, compensate the people beside the cleanup that you talked about earlier?
For me, is the will. We are always talking about the will. We have NDDC. How has NDDC fared? Has NDDC been allowed to operate within the laws that set her up? Has NDDC been allowed? For a very long time, NDDC was doing something, was illegal. Illegal institutions were appointed. Even now, the appointment into the boards, they didn't meet the laws that set up NDDC. That is number one. Ministry of Niger Delta was set up. What is Ministry of Niger Delta doing? Is Ministry of Niger Delta properly funded? Is it adequately funded? And the funds, when released to the ministry, does it go down to the people? Do the people feel the effect of the funds in the hands of Minister of Niger Delta? The amnesty program, Has he operated well for those who they claim collected amnesty? Are the funds and everything reaching the people? Are the people trained? Who are the people who are trained? Where are they? Where are they engaged? Where are they working? Where are the skills? Why should one set of people be selected in Niger Delta? Because they carried guns. I also carried guns. I chose not to take the amnesty bribe. I chose not to take it. So why should less than 0.1% of the people who they claim took amnesty be paid since 2009? They have been paid, they have been trained, they have been given this at the expense of the generality of the people who also suffer the same effect of the deprivation of the people of the Niger Delta.
Right,
These are moral questions we must ask.
Let's wind down with politics. Are you interested in what's going on?
Yes, I am.
What do you think about how the campaign is going on and the candidates themselves?
The campaigns in many states, like Rivers State and some other states, Rivers State where I come from, the political space is stifled. The political space is being closed.
How?
Yes.
By who?
By the governor of Rivers State.
How?
Making illegal executive orders, impairing campaign, preventing political opponents from campaigning and access to space, not even public space, not even government space, traditional space, playgrounds, and so on.
Did he say they shouldn't campaign or they should just pay clean-up fee and then go ahead and use the place?
What all these years, who does he pay to? When his candidate is campaigning, you put up billboard, they go and lynch you, pull down the billboard.
Have they lynched anybody for putting up billboard?
It was viral in Omuma local government. People were beaten for daring to put up PDP campaign.
Police did not intervene?
Police? We have not heard anything from the police or the security. For daring to put articles, posters, people were beaten. The SDP candidate had been attacked in more than one place in Rivers State. But in the presidential election, I am with Tinubu because I saw what Tinubu did in Lagos and the legacy Tinubu left behind in Lagos. Tinubu was governor of Lagos State. He handed over to Fashola. Now, we can't talk about Atiku. Atiku has never actually handled executive power. He was a spare tire. He was vice president.
What about those who say, we want to try new things?
Excuse me.
Not what we've seen before.
Excuse me. New thing. Obi of Labour Party was a governor for 8 years, like Tinubu. Kwankwaso of NNPP was a governor of Kano State for 8 years. So we compare these three. We leave out Atiku because he did not have the same executive power. He did not exercise the same executive power that Tinubu, Kwankwaso, and Obi exercised. Tinubu left power. He gave power to Fashola. Now, can you compare Fashola of Lagos with Willie Obiano that Obi picked? Can you?
But
I'm coming. Can you compare the one that Kwankwaso picked in Kano that succeeded him? You cannot. Look, politics all over the world. Let us not say that Tinubu picked people. Tinubu have Lagos. What of in India? The Indian Congress Party. That one family has been dominating. What of in Pakistan?
But those were, they will say, look,
the Botes, no, I'm coming.
It's about people's reality.
Excuse me now. The Bote. What of in the United States of America, where they say is the home of democracy, where Trump, one man that I think something is wrong with his head, is speaking candidates. He's sponsoring candidates. If it doesn't endorse you in the Republican Party, you cannot win. So when we're talking as if we're in isolation. We are not in isolation. We look at the record. If you look at the candidates, Tinubu stands out. It's a success story in Lagos.
So
Ambode took over.
How about those who say, well, that may be the case.
Yes.
But they look at the political party, because here it's parties that present the candidates. So he will still work within the same party, within the same structure. And they, from what they've seen, they don't think their economic life is any better. So they think, why should I continue in the same breath?
Excuse me. When you say individuals differ, individuals cannot be tied to political party. I am an Ijaw man, but I'm a Muslim. Majority of Ijaw people are Christian and other things. So can you say Ijaw people who believe in Egbezu, who believe in Akaso, who goes to church, because a infinitesimal number of Ijaw people who are Muslim. I'm just a Muslim.
But yes, when you now bring it at the national level,
yes,
with national
that is
politics.
what I am saying. In politics, you look at the individual. Individuals have their own traits and distinction. And when an individual comes, he comes with his this thing to come and bear on the policies of the party. There is nothing wrong with the manifesto of APC. There's nothing wrong with the manifesto of PDP. There's nothing wrong with the manifesto of Labour Party. I don't know of NNPP. But there's nothing wrong. You go there, very nice things are said. It will take an individual touch to be able to effect the desired needs of the people.
There's no guarantee that will happen, is there?
Because we have seen it in Lagos.
But there are people in Lagos who are not happy with what's going on.
Yes, all over the world. In the United States of America, there are people who are not happy. That's why Black Lives Matter came up. There are people in Qatar today who are talking about the policies of Qatar. There are people in United Arab Emirates that are talking about what's happening. But if you are as a visitor, you go to United Arab Emirates, you think you are in heaven. So it has to do with individual. Lagos has transformed from what it used to be, like a big ghetto, a junkyard, to a global center. And one of the biggest economy in the whole of Africa. Somebody kickstarted it. Somebody laid the foundation.
All right. We'll see how that plays out and see who wins the elections at the end of the day.
I pray that Tinubu will win.
But there's some information we'll have here. I think when they heard you say that Navy was involved, they're just trying to remind us that that's not actually correct, because they say the physicalization that had the Navy at the platform stopped in the 1980s. So that Navy is not involved in
It's not the platform. The Navy patrols.
Okay.
They patrol the territorial waters of the, Nigeria. They don't need to be only at the platform. The primary duty of the Navy is to protect the territorial frontiers.
Okay. All right. We do thank you for coming on. Alhaji Mujahid Dokubo Asari is the former president of Ijaw Youth Council, leader, Niger Delta People's Salvation Front, and Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
And not many people remember that you're a lawyer.
No, I'm not a lawyer. I read law.
You read law.
Yes.
Not many people will remember that, because they only remember your recent history, as it were. No, but thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Let's quickly take a look at some messages that are coming through now from a lot of you out there. This one comes in from Henry, talking about crude oil theft, which we just spoke about. He says, the revelations about crude oil racketeering is not just about economic sabotage. It is a national embarrassment. We have enough security agencies connected to securing the pipelines to prevent and checkmate crude oil thefts.
I'll take a look at this tweet from Prof. Imonica Anakena, saying that until PIB is implemented to unbundle the oil sector, oil theft will not cease. Says the oil sector must be deregulated, or in the least, public and private partnership, so that every channel of oil theft is curtailed. says this is part of systemic corruption in the oil sector. I imagine the PIB has gone some length.
Well, yes, but it's the implementation that needs to catch up.
Big question.
Oshinowo Kingsley says, this is not the desired nation of our forefathers. Nothing seems to be moving forward. And Nigerians need to think critically about the party and candidate they will be voting come 2023. Poverty, insecurity, unemployment, and so on do not respect religion, ethnicity, and color.
I know what I was going to say. It's the PIA now. I was wondering, what's the PIB? It's the Petroleum Industry Act. No more the bill.
Okay, well, yes, indeed. It turns out it's going to be as interesting a day as you make it, actually. Well, at this point, we have to thank you all for watching and for letting us be a part of your day and week. We will be here again next week. Until then, I am Chamberlain, so live from Abuja, asking you to have a very, very lovely day.
Clearly, it will be a big day. Stay with Channels Television. We have something for you. I'm Kayode Ogihielu. Have a fantastic one.
And do not forget, for those of you in Lagos, there is that traffic advisory out. Take care to take care. I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful rest of your day.